Last of the few people in. While I welcome those that are joining online, I will repeat the same joke from our first event for those joining in the future, because we are recording all of these events and they'll be available on the website. And of course, welcome to all of the guests for our formal launch of both the GCCA Action and Progress Report, as well as kind of the opening reception, shall we call it, for our pavilion. So welcome to COP29. We hope to have a range of conversations with you over the course of the next few days for those that are staying. So this is just a reception, but we really want for the first sort of 15 minutes just to talk a little bit, and you'll hear from some of our member companies, you'll hear from some of our important stakeholders, who both support our work and are crucial for the execution of the net zero mission. And so after about sort of 15 or 20 minutes, then we can all just have a good old natter about how we take things forward. The first speaker to give you the formal welcome is a representative on behalf of CEMEX, on behalf of our president. They're our president company. It's my great pleasure to introduce you to just a moment, Sergio Menendez. He is the president of CEMEX Europe, Middle East, Africa, and Asia. He joined CEMEX in 1993, serving in a range of different executive positions, planning and logistics, commercial development, strategic planning, infrastructure, sales, distribution, right across the world. He's an industrial engineer in terms of his studies, studying at Monterey University, and has an MBA from Stanford. Sergio, can I ask you to formally welcome us to the launch? Sergio.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you so much for being here with us today in the formal inauguration of the Future Concrete Pavilion of GCCA, and also in the launch of our Net Zero report. As you know, in GCCA, we have committed to a net zero future, and we have more than 50 CEOs from the largest cement and concrete companies in the world that had committed as well to a net zero future. So in the report, you will see inspiring examples of what many of our companies are already doing. I would like to reflect on the fact that first, cement and concrete are essential for society and essential for the transition to a low carbon economy. But it's essential also that we decarbonize. And we are embarked in the largest transformation in the history of our industry. So for that, we need lots of collaboration, and it's essential that we decarbonize as soon as possible. So in the report, you will see some of the examples that I like the most with technologies that are already available. For example, the use of alternative fuels in our kilns. We have companies that have replaced already 100% of fossil fuels with municipal solid waste, for example. And that helps reduce emissions, not only in the cement plant, but also methane emissions in landfills, for example. There are also companies that are introducing new blended cement products that are already in the market, some using calcined clay, for example, others using micronization technologies. So that continues to develop, continues to evolve. And we have also, as was mentioned before, already dozens of CCUS projects that are announced, and the first one to come on stream next year, I understand. So the industry is moving, and to me, the good news as well is that we can advance faster. And what we need to advance faster, very short term, are the right policies to develop those technologies. For example, in the case of alternative fuels, waste directives are not implemented in the same way in different markets. And that is a quick hit for us to improve the use of alternative fuels immediately and have a significant reduction in methane emissions. The same happens, for example, with product standards and building codes. The adoption of new blended cements is not the same in different markets, and it's an easy way for us to move faster and to decarbonize faster. Then one of the most important ones is to have a carbon market, carbon pricing, and to have green carbon procurement, and that is another piece of legislation that in some markets is already in place, but in many others is not. And that could also help decarbonize way faster. Now, the only way to achieve all of this is through collaboration. So I want to thank you for joining us today. And that's the reason we are here at COP. Working together, we can do it, and we can really accelerate our net zero roadmap. Thank you so much.
Sergio, fantastic and thoughtful words. I'm going to introduce you to the CEO of the GCCA in a moment to talk a little bit about the GCCA's work and what we do, and of course some of the highlights of the progress report and the clean technology that's been developed, but also the crisp call to action for governments, which you heard from Sergio. But before I introduce Thomas, I am going to play a little film to get us all inspired, give us a bit of energy about what concrete is. That was our launch film back in 2018, but it's still relevant and powerful. In fact, for those online, there's quite a few people sort of weeping and with emotion at that now, the power of that film. So unfortunately, Thomas has to somehow follow that with the practical work that the GCCA is doing. Thomas is the CEO of the GCCA. He joined from Holcim, has 20 years experience of leadership. He was leading the sustainability project, Geocycle, in Holcim. He's a passionate advocate and leader for the net zero mission on behalf of the global industry. So, Thomas, over to you.
Thank you, Paul. I'm actually need a moment. I need to wipe my emotions. Sorry. Okay, so let me start with. We are here to launch the progress report, action on progress report. This is something that we are now doing every year. So we had one last year, and it's one of the reasons why we are at COP. Actually, is to share what we are doing and to receive comments, criticism sometimes, but also show the positive of what we do. And I like to say that in this world where there is a lot of uncertainties, where people are challenging a little bit everything, and when we kind of turn the table around, I think really, and I'm proud to be part of this organization and part of this sector, because we have here 50 companies that have committed to something and that are living to it. And they are in this book, real thing, real action, that shows that the things is possible, that we are making things change, and that we are up to the challenge of the net zero transition, and we go for the 2050, and we are fully behind here. So my first thing goes to thanks the member, all our members that have actually shared their knowledge and shared their actions, and also to the partners that are part of the group. And we see that we have here a very distinguished an honorable panel with some people from the government. In this case, we have the two co-chairs of our Breakthrough Cement. We are cooperating in the Breakthrough Cement. I mean, the Canada and Emirates are sharing that, so they have made a testimony in that. And then we have a panel of individual, university heads on high thinker. We have knowledge providers, scientific people. We have people from the business, from the value chain, people from stakeholder organization, people from a lot of leading people whom we ask actually to comment what we are doing and to have actually a word on the report, saying, look, this is your platform, and we want really you to participate in that discussion. So I want to thank everybody to have taken the time in making this report and in contributing to the report. Now, a bit of word of GCCA. I mean, Sergio already explained, so I will not be too long. But for the one of you that do not know GCCA yet, we are an organization that is made of cement majors, not only majors, also small companies. I mean, we have some one plant companies. I mean, typically in Azerbaijan, the company Norm is also a member together with Holcim, and that's one plant. And they have an interest, like the others, to share and to actually evolve on the net zero transition. We also have our members, the National Cement Association. Now that's important at the time to talk about collaboration, about political regulation on change. We have all the National Partner Association with us, working with us. And so it's not just a global vision, it's also very often reality. So, concrete, I mean, I will not review the film, but basically what we say is that there is seldom a material that brought so much to the humanity and to the social development. So concrete for us is really a fundamental part of modern life, of social development, of economical development, and as such, it's a material that is really essential to the modern world, and as we think a lot of cannot be substituted, right? So, and that's why we believe that concrete has a future. But concrete has a future only if we manage the carbon situation, if we decarbonize the material, and we are custodian of the material. And this is the challenge that we have in GCCA, but together with all our members and our partners, is to decarbonize concrete on the industry. For that sense, we have made actually this roadmap. So this is the net zero roadmap. This is the global roadmap. This is the vision that we have from 2050 that we put together in at the COP ahead of the COP in Glasgow. And our members have made a commitment that this is possible. This is possible with 7 technologies that are universal technologies, which basically look at the full value chain of concrete, starting with construction, how we build, how we engineer building, how we design building, also going through the way we do concrete, the way we do cement, the way we do clinker. And in that, there is this component of the CCUS, and of course the electricity, the energy that we use on the recarbonation of the CO2 into the clinker. So this is important. On what we believe, on what we demonstrate through this report, is that actions are taking place on each of these levels, and we are contributing to make things happen, and we are demonstrating with this all over the year. One thing is important also is that the journey is not a unique journey. So we talk about collaboration. Sergio explained that, was mentioning about that. We need the collaboration from the government. We need the collaboration from the civil society. But in particular on policy, there are a number of things that are not possible if we don't adjust the legislation, right? So typically when we talk about circularity requires a number of legislative adjustment, and we are going through here are policy asks. So you will see policy on discussion on the supplementary material, how we have to change the norm to adapt the product to make sure that the product can actually take place in the construction material landscape. On the waste treatment, on the circularity, on the contribution of the cement industry to resolving the waste problem. This is particularly true in the global south and in developing countries where there is no infrastructure for waste treatment and when we can really contribute here. This is true also on the carbon discussion, the carbon capture, the technology itself, but also the development and the deployment of carbon management infrastructure, and also giving a price to carbon to make sure that there is an economical incentive to actually decarbonize the industry. And in particular, having the vision of the deep decarbonisation solutions that we are bringing. We have seen it's a set 7 levels, but we also have this one, the deep decarbonisation solution with the carbon capture. On that note, we are showing progress. We are cooperating with LEADIT for the industry tracker. This is also the reference for the MPP tracker. Some of you might know that. So we have here the view on the carbon capture plants. We have also launched the calcine clay projects, so for the supplementary material. And I invite you to actually follow us on to see where we are going. Now, I don't want to make it too long. I hand over back to Paul, and I'm available if there is any questions a bit later.
Bravo, Thomas. We're in our report, so pick up a copy, and it's now online and available on the GCCA website. Some amazing examples of decarbonisation from our members right across the world. What I'm going to ask now is a few of our members and stakeholders. Am I still okay? I do apologise. Still teething problems. They're trying to train me to hold a mic. You'd train a chimp a little bit quicker, but there you go. Dr. Janapumi, who is the chair of the Thai Cement Manufacturers Association and also the Chief Sustainability Officer of SCG, one of the biggest companies in Thailand, just to give some reflections from SCG in the Global South. Chana, please.
Thank you, Paul. First of all, I would congratulate to GCCA that have done well in the past. Collaborative action is very important for my thinking and my opinion. As the strong leadership from the board of directors of GCCA and also very active CEO Thomas is a very good support to what we trying to implement according to the roadmap. As in the past, Thailand also quite difficult to talk with the government side. Thomas time by time visit Thailand and also convince the government people to understand how to make the policy support for the industry side. This is what I'm very appreciate to Thomas. You don't cry, you don't cry. This is a good example of what we have to do for the decarbonization as we have planned. In myself, what we trying to link or connect the dot from global to local, we set the area-based approach in Salaburi Sandbox, trying to moving forward to see how we can propose or comment to the government to make the new legislation to support our roadmap. This so far so good, and we hope that we can expedite and also show the example for the good South for GCCA. Thank you very much. Thank you, Kap.
Thank you so much, Chana. I'd now like to invite Dr. Katarina Bummelberg up to the stage. She's the new Chief Sustainability and New Technologies Officer of Heidelberg Materials. She has a tremendous experience working both for SLB, which is Schlumberg, I seem to recall that I still remember them, and of course Siemens for 20, 30 years. And she brings a real energy and passion. I've already seen her online. And so, Katarina, over to you.
Very nice, thank you. So first, let me say thank you to the GCCH for coming up with this great support, report and for bringing all of us together in this very special task that we have. Because for me, we are at a very, very pivotal moment in time. I think with what we see, how the climate crisis is progressing, it does something to me that's part of why I joined the industry, and I think it does something to us. And what we see comes with a responsibility in our industry, because our industry holds true for whatever, somewhere between 7 and 10% of global carbon emissions, depending on what source you take. And having that said, I think we have the responsibility to decarbonize as fast as we can. And that's actually why I joined from the oil and gas industry, because I had the feeling that our industry is at a very special moment in time, because we are in the process of implementing carbon capture and storage. We are in the process of implementing deep decarbonization, and this is why it gave me the feeling that I can make a real impact in this industry, and that is why I ultimately joined. Having that said, this is obviously not going to go alone and separate. I think we will need to make sure that we find very good collaborations with the private and the public sector. It needs to go hand in hand, because ultimately all of this is only going to work if the business cases work. Companies are owned by shareholders, and shareholders will only support stuff where in the end we come to a business case that work. And to be able to get to this business case, we need the right partners on the regulatory side. We need the right partners on the public side. And I think this is what we need to stand in together for. And this is why it's so important to have associations like the GCCA, because this is our platform to bundle what we need. This is the platform to tell the public side what is needed for our industry to decarbonize and to eventually get rid of the whatever 7 to 10% of global carbon emissions. This is why I'm very happy to be here. This is why I'm very happy to be in the job. And I'm very much looking forward to the progress that we make. We as Heidelberg Materials will have the first carbon capture and storage plant go live in the first half year of 2025. So we will deliver the first carbon-free cement in the second quarter of 25. So it's really interesting times ahead. So let's see how far we get. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Next up is Mr. Mahendra Singhi, who is member of the board of directors and strategic advisor at Dalmia, formerly the CEO. But anybody that's been to COP over a number of years will know the tremendous advocacy role that he is playing. He has genuine character and a wealth of knowledge. So, Mr. Singhi, over to you.
Thank you. Happy evening, ladies and gentlemen. First, let me compliment from my side also, and maybe from all of you, to GCCA and particularly GCCA team, who has done commendable job and people together, and maybe like more than 50 CEOs together or 50 cement companies together globally, so as to commit first time in heavy industry globally that we would be reaching to net zero by 2050. And I think the way roadmap has been created, it has given it is possible to reach net zero. Still in most of the areas you would find cement sector as hard to abate sector. Every time I have to already roadmap available, so it means that it is possible to request to all of you, at least we should call our sector possible to abate. That is one. Secondly, am I right? Second, the way this report has been created, the way examples have been given, in the report by excellent work, excellent effort done by many cement companies globally, that will help many cement companies across the world to understand that what I have not done so far, how I can do that, and then if required, I can check up with the company X, Y, Z, that how I can implement it. The whole purpose of GCCA is to create collaboration. The whole purpose is to come to net zero with the purpose that yes, more and more respect can be earned by cement and concrete industry. I am very happy that with the quality of the report which has been done. I am very happy also with the way the stakeholders have come together to support GCCA, and GCCA has become one of the example globally that how sectors should work on. I do understand that now steel sector or aluminum sector is working on the same line, that we should also commit globally the net zero roadmap. So thanks to Thomas and team that they have come out with a great report, and every year the action taken report will play a very important role, because each one of us have to tell to the whole world that what we have done against our commitment. So thanks to everyone, and my best wishes to cement companies for their net zero roadmap. Thank you.
Mr. Singh, bravo. And just in terms of the member companies, one final contribution from Holcim, Cedric Demers. I can invite you up to say a few words. Cedric heads up the government public affairs for Holcim at a global level. Cedric, over to you.
Thank you, Paul. All the clever stuff's been said, so I can be a lot lighter, and you all want a drink, so I'll be fast. Look, on behalf of Holcim, I'd like to thank the GCCA team for their relentless work, which is all in this report. And the testimony of this work was that on the first day of COP, the high-level climate champion highlighted the progress that we made in the sector. They highlighted that the sector reduced -8% since 2020, more or less the birth year of GCCA, something like that. So together we are progressing fast. I think the most important thing that we've heard from all of you is that we have moved from a commitment to deploying large-scale, industrial scale, and many times first-of-a-kind scale projects, from CCOS to calcined clay to 100% recyclable concrete, you name it. We're doing it. It's not easy, it's hard, it's expensive, we need partners, we need support, but we're doing it. So we're really moving. So can only conclude is that cement and concrete is cool again and on its way to net zero. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Cedric. Just give me a moment. I'm going to flick through a few slides. Whilst I'm doing that, I'm going to ask Professor Karen Scrivener to join us on the stage. She is a professor at EPFL, another COP accolade. Amazing work that she does. She also heads up the Innovandi Research Network, which is a GCCA innovation initiative, and Karen is a material scientist by trade with a really deep knowledge. So I'm going to pass over to Professor Karen Scrivener. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paul. So we've heard a lot about the importance of concrete, but I think it's really difficult to appreciate the scale of it. It makes up 75% of all materials we use. You know, this is absolutely amazing. And therefore, this figure of CO2 emissions of 8%, well, it's really fairly modest. But of course, we want to do better. And that's the important thing. I think as well as decarbonisation challenge, we have to see the challenge of the shifting geography of cement use. The last 40 years has been dominated by the rise of China. China is now going to go down in consumption because they built a lot of stuff, and this is going to be taken over by other developing regions, particularly India and of course Africa. And there we really mustn't forget the importance of integrating all parts of the value chain. It's in the GCCA roadmap, but if we look at the top parts, just these three things: efficient design, efficient concrete, and making more efficient cement by lowering the clinker content, can bring about tremendous reductions. And of course there we've contributed with the LC3 technology and calcined clay, which we estimate can save more than 500 million tons of CO2 on its own just per year, 500 million tons per year. So that's very important because we are seeing this global shift. And what's particularly important, we have a publication we're submitting recently, which indicates that with just these three technologies, we could decouple development and CO2 emissions in the concrete sector. That means that even though countries will increase their consumption of concrete and will build more, they can at the same time lower their CO2 emissions. That's a very important message because, you know, 3/4 of the 200 odd countries here at COP say, you know, we have to develop. And the important thing is you can do that with concrete and still lower CO2 emissions. Thank you.
Professor Scrivener, thanks so much. I'm now going to invite up the government of Norway, Anne Gjengedal. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Maybe you can tell me if that's not the case. She's an advisor at the Department of Climate, Industry and Technology, indeed at the Norwegian Ministry of Energy. And you'll hear, even in our earlier event on CCUS, the great work that Norway is doing to help industrial decarbonisation, and also a leading light of the Clean Energy Ministerial CCUS. So on that behalf, can I pass over to you and say a few words? Thank you.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you for inviting me to give a few remarks as Norway is co-lead of the Clean Energy Ministerial CCUS initiative. And on behalf of SAM CCUS, I can say that there's been a long cooperation with the GCCA. There's been a lot of good work going. There's been work on policy frameworks, infrastructure for storage and transport of CO2, and financing of CCUS projects, to name a few of them. So it's been a good cooperation. We need cooperation to bring these projects forward. We need industry and governments to work together. I also want to say a special thanks to Thomas and GCCA colleagues for attending the ministerial event that was in Brazil in October. And a lot of the SAM CCUS members are intensifying their efforts to CCUS projects also in the industry, in the cement sector. And to bring an example for Norway, we have a large full-scale CCUS project called Longship. The transport and storage infrastructure has actually been completed, and we look forward to receiving the CO2 from Heidelberg cement materials in Norway in 2025, which will be a big milestone. So that's just one of the examples. On behalf of the SAM CCUS, I can say that the cooperation with GCCA is highly valued and that we look forward to the continued cooperation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anna. And indeed, it's all about collaboration. That's why we've had industry speakers and then stakeholder speakers as well. And can I invite up the representatives of the Government of Canada, where we have a particularly rich partnership with the, in fact, I won't say what that is. I'll let you say them. Dr. Yasser Sultan, who is the Executive Director for Built Environment at the Climate Change Initiative at the National Research Council in Canada. Over to you.
Thank you, Paul. And, this is working? Okay. Thank you. And, of course, from the Government of Canada, I wanted to congratulate GCCA on the report. Looks fantastic. Looking forward to read it. I'm not going to repeat most of what's been said, but just wanted to highlight, I'm representing my minister, so I brought some speaking notes along, specifically on the cement and concrete breakthrough, an initiative or a partnership around the world to advance together as GCCA's mission is. As most of you know, the Cement and Concrete Breakthrough is a unique and powerful global initiative that aims to harness the power of collective action, bringing together governments, industry, and organizations under a common goal to make net zero emissions cement the preferred choice in global markets. While this is a multilateral initiative that leverages the political goodwill of our members, co-chairs are acutely aware of the essential role that industry must play within this work in order for us to achieve practical and meaningful progress. A lot of it is found in this report here. Canada and its co-chair, the United Arab Emirates, are committed to continuing to collaborate with the global industry to help accelerate sector decarbonization across borders. Go to the next page. Since the launch of our inaugural work plan at GCCA's annual conference in Bangkok this past June, Canada and its co-chairs are proud to the practical progress they've made against the work plan and the objectives, including advancing consensus around the key definitions and standards, for example, on co-processing. We have also amassed an impressive membership of 12 countries, which continue to increase across North America, the Middle East, Europe, Africa, and beyond. Through this work, we're committed to extending our global reach and ensure that the perspectives and capacities of all regions across the globe are reflected in this work. We're proud of the work that we have done to help convene key players from across the global ecosystem, and we're going to continue this work on frameworks for action as the years go on. I would invite all those around the room today and for the future, as this is heard, to encourage national governments to join this initiative, to give themselves a voice within the global efforts to decarbonize and to benefit from the knowledge sharing and collective action of this initiative. Thank you once again, GCCA, Toma, and everyone for allowing our remarks, and best of luck on the report. Thank you.
Fantastic. We're delighted with the collaboration that the Cement Breakthrough exists. No more speakers, and I'm not going to say any more words. The good news is we can all grab a drink at the back. Make sure that those that are physically attending grab this. It's also now downloadable on the GCCA website, our progress report. And within the progress report is this not only amazing examples of decarbonisation across the world, but also the very clear policy asks that we ask of government to help accelerate our net zero mission. So that's it. Thanks ever so much for joining. Thanks to our sponsors for helping support the Concrete Future Pavilion as well, and to all the partnerships and all our speakers this evening. Thank you. Enjoy a drink.